Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack one of the absolute most fascinating business success stories of the modern era. I mean, think about it. You walk into almost any convenience store in the world and you're instantly hit with rows of brightly colored energy drinks, all aggressively competing for your attention. But today, we are focusing on one specific, massive empire that was built on a truly incredible premise. They achieved total global dominance with essentially just one single flagship product.
Take a look at these numbers because the sheer scale here is honestly hard to wrap your head around. Red Bull is sold in over 170 countries. Billions of cans are cracked open and consumed every single year. We are talking about a $20 billion empire standing tall in a highly saturated market. They go head-to-head every day with aggressive competitors like Monster, Rockstar, Celsius, and Prime, not to mention all the local brands out there. And yet, that one slim blue and silver can continues to absolutely dominate the category that it essentially helped invent.
So it really makes you wonder, right? How exactly did one slim little can build an empire this massive? Well, the answer completely subverts what you might expect. They didn't become one of the world's most valuable beverage companies simply by selling drinks. They became a giant by selling an identity, an idea, and a lifestyle. From the very beginning, they understood a fundamental truth that a lot of businesses actually still struggle to grasp today. People rarely buy products. They buy what those products say about them.
Section 1. An unlikely origin story.
This whole thing actually kicks off back in the early 1980s. Austrian entrepreneur Dietrich Mateschitz was traveling through Thailand on business when he stumbled upon a local drink called Kratin Dang. Now, ironically, this wasn't meant for extreme athletes or gamers back then. It was actually the go-to fuel for truck drivers and laborers who were working these incredibly long shifts. After drinking it to cure his jet lag, Mateschitz saw a massive opportunity. There was an entirely new market category just waiting to be born. I mean, Western markets had coffee, soft drinks, and sports beverages, but energy drinks, they barely even existed. So instead of inventing something entirely from scratch, Mateschitz partnered up with Thai businessman Chaleo Yovidia. They adapted the formula for European tastes, carbonated it, packaged it in a sleek little can, and officially launched Red Bull in Austria in 1987.
Section 2. Engineering a new culture. Now, that 1987 Austrian launch, it was actually met with a ton of confusion. Retailers absolutely refused to stock it, and consumers genuinely didn't understand what it was or why an energy drink was even necessary. On top of that, traditional advertising would have been incredibly expensive for a brand new company. So they went rogue. They utilized completely unconventional guerrilla tactics. First, they targeted natural influencers, university students, young professionals, and nightlife communities. Picture this, you're leaving a club and you see a branded car just loaded with free cans. They brilliantly turned sampling into viral marketing. Students tried the drink, friends shared it, and word of mouth spread like wildfire.
But handing out free cans was really just the tip of the iceberg. Red Bull realized that products become truly memorable when they're attached to wild, unforgettable experiences. Motocross, surfing, snowboarding, the Red Bull Air Race, Red Bull Rampage, crashed ice, cliff diving, and of course, Formula One. They didn't just passively slap their logo on an athlete's jersey. No, they built entire global competitions around their own brand and even bought highly successful Formula One racing teams. The whole shebang was designed to reinforce one single powerful message: Red Bull gives you wings.
Section 3. The media company disguise.
To truly own these crazy experiences, Red Bull had to rethink their entire corporate identity. Instead of buying traditional ad space in other people's media, they evolved. They basically became a media business disguised as a beverage company. They literally built their own production studios to create original films, documentaries, magazines, music projects, and digital content. They figured out that by producing thrilling content that perfectly captured their brand's vibe of adventure and limit pushing, they could engage consumers so much more deeply than any standard 30-second TV commercial ever could.
And honestly, nothing shows off this strategy better than this massive number right here: 39 kilometers. Back in 2012, the Red Bull Stratos project saw Austrian skydiver Felix Baumgartner ascend to the absolute edge of space in a helium balloon before jumping back to Earth from nearly 39 kilometers above the planet. Millions of people watched this live around the globe. Now, technically this wasn't an advertisement at all, yet almost every single news headline across the world included the name Red Bull. They managed to create one of the most successful, non-traditional marketing events in human history purely by funding and broadcasting an insane feat of human achievement.
Moving on to Section 4. The disciplined mechanics.
Behind all the flashy stunts, one of their biggest masterstrokes was scarcity and discipline. While their competitors were out there offering endless bottle sizes and a million flavor variations, Red Bull stuck strictly to its instantly recognizable slim can, and they paired it with premium pricing. And that higher price tag, it wasn't a deterrent at all. It was a psychological tool. It signaled to the buyer that you weren't just grabbing a sugary soda for refreshment, you were buying elite performance, energy, focus, and ambition.
This disciplined approach extends directly into how they distribute. Think about a traditional beverage launch. Usually, a company tries to get the product everywhere all at once. They push for availability before demand. Red Bull completely reversed this. They exclusively targeted trendy bars, clubs, and gyms first in order to build immense anticipation. They made the drink highly desirable long before it was widely available. Because, let's face it, availability without demand rarely creates excitement. But demand before availability, that creates massive, massive anticipation. When you compare this to the traditional beverage giants, the contrast is stark. While traditional companies are out there managing highly complex corporate structures with hundreds of different brands and flavor variations, Red Bull kept a relentless focus on a lean, flagship portfolio. This lack of complexity meant their messaging stayed clear, their operations were extremely efficient, and their business model was incredibly easy to scale globally. By refusing to chase every single beverage trend out there, they aggressively protected their core identity.
Now, look, no global giant exists without its fair share of challenges, right? Over the years, Red Bull has faced heavy criticism from health experts regarding excessive caffeine and sugar consumption. They've also dealt with intense regulatory scrutiny over their marketing claims in certain countries. Plus, the market competition has intensified dramatically. You've got Monster growing into a massive global giant, and new health-focused energy drinks are constantly flooding the aisles. And yet, despite all of this, Red Bull maintains its lead. Why? Well, because rivals often successfully copy the physical product, the caffeine and the sugar, but they completely miss the underlying strategy that actually built the empire in the first place.
Which brings us to Section 5, selling the feeling.
It ultimately boils down to this really profound realization. Products can be copied. Identity is much, much harder to duplicate. The drink alone never built this empire. Red Bull rarely tells its customers they're buying a better-tasting beverage. Instead, they invite you into a community, a culture, and a mindset of risk-taking and achievement. Every sponsored athlete, every film, every race, it all just strengthens that emotional connection. You can reverse engineer a recipe in a lab, and sure, you can build a factory, but you cannot easily clone a culture. The can is really just a symbol of what the customer believes is possible after drinking it.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought to apply to your own daily life. Next time you go out and buy a premium product, whether that's a beverage, a new piece of technology, or a brand of clothing, ask yourself, are you buying the actual physical item, or are you buying the feeling of holding it? Red Bull's $20 billion empire proves that if you can master the latter, the sky, or in Felix Baumgartner's case, the edge of space, is the absolute limit. Thanks so much for joining me today. Stay curious, keep analyzing the world around you, and I will see you next time as we uncover more hidden business strategies.